It was just another lazy evening at the old gas station out in Willow Creek. You know, that little speck of a town where the pines whisper secrets and folks still wave at strangers on the road until the growl of those motorcycle engines shattered the quiet like a bad dream crashing into reality. I remember it clear as day, 'cause that's when everything flipped upside down for me. Lily Harlan, just trying to keep the family pump running smooth while Dad tinkered in the back. These iron vipers rolled in, leather-clad and mean as snakes, led by this scar-faced bully named Vance Crowe, and right off the bat, they zeroed in on old Tom Grady, our regular who was just grabbing a coffee, minding his own. "Hey, Gramps, move your rusty ass or we'll move it for you," Vance snarled, his crew chuckling like it was the funniest damn thing. But Tom, bless his stubborn heart, shot back with that gravelly voice of his. "Son, I've forgotten more manners than you'll ever learn." And, oh man, that lit the fuse. See, Willow Creek's always been this tight-knit spot, where the land's worth more than gold to some. Turns out, Vance and his Vipers weren't just passing through. They had eyes on our corner lot, dreaming up some shady backroom casino to rake in cash from the truckers rolling by, figuring they could scare off folks like us who stood in the way of their empire. Me? I couldn't just stand there wiping counters while they pushed Tom around me blood-boiled, thinking about how Dad had scraped by after Mom passed, pouring his soul into this place to give me something solid, something real. So I stepped up, voice steady even though my knees were jelly. "Back off him, now," I said, locking eyes with Vance, who just grinned wider, like he'd found fresh meat. His boys turned, sizing me up as the easy target. But what they didn't know, what I didn't even know back then, was Dad, Jack Harlan, wasn't just some quiet trucker. He had shadows from his past, special forces days he'd buried deep to shield me from the ugliness. And that evening, those shadows were about to rise up. As the sun dipped low, painting the pumps in that golden haze, Vance leaned in close, his breath reeking of cheap whiskey and bad intentions. "Little lady, you got fire too bad it's gonna get you burned." And his crew started circling, knocking over displays like they owned the joint, their laughter echoing off the metal signs. Tom tried to play peacemaker. "Ease up, fellas, ain't no need for this." But Vance shoved him back, hard enough to make the old man stumble. And that's when Dad walked in, tall, weathered, eyes like steel under that faded cap, taking in the scene without a word at first, just this quiet command that sucked the air right out. "Step away from them," he said, low and even, no drama. But Vance spun around, smirking. "And who the hell are you, Pops?" Her knight in greasy armor. Dad didn't flinch, just met his gaze. "I'm the one telling you to leave while you still can." And for a split second, you could feel the shift, like the air got heavier, charged with something unspoken. But Vance, driven by that twisted need to dominate, maybe from some old grudge against small-town holdouts who wouldn't bend to his gang's land grab sheet, wasn't backing down easy. He signaled his boys, and they advanced, one grabbing a tire iron from his bike like it was playtime. I grabbed my phone, dialing the sheriff quick as I could, heart hammering, while Dad positioned himself between us and them, his stance shifting subtly, like muscle memory kicking in from those long-ago missions he never talked about. The sirens wailed faint in the distance, and Vance cursed. "This ain't over, Harlan, you just poked the wrong hive," before they revved up and peeled out, dust kicking up like a parting shot. That night, as Willow Creek settled back into its hush, I couldn't shake the knot in my gut. Dad was out there pacing, checking locks, and when I peeked into the garage, there he was, pulling out this old duffel, sleek pistol glinting under the bulb, magazines lined up neat as pins. "Dad, what the?" I whispered, stepping in, and he looked up, sigh heavy. "Just precautions. Lily, those Vipers want this land bad. Been pushing folks out for months to build their den, and I won't let him take what's ours." He sat me down then, voice cracking just a bit as he spilled itho before I came along. He'd been in the thick of it overseas, ops that left scars you couldn't see, skills he'd locked away to build a life here, away from the violence. But now, with Vance's gang eyeing our spot for their illicit setup, stirring up old community riffs about progress versus tradition, it all came flooding back. Tom swung by later, shotgun in tow. "Jack, I've seen enough bullies in my day, lost my own farm to types like these back in '98. Ain't letting it happen again." And Dad nodded, grateful but wary. "Appreciate it, Tom. but this could get ugly. We fortified that night, barrels blocking doors, flashlights ready, me learning the basics from Dad, my hands shaking but resolve hardening. Thinking about how this wasn't just about us anymore. It was the whole town, folks who'd whispered about the Viper's creeping influence, buying off land cheap through fear. Come morning, the rumble hit again, louder, meaner. Vance and his crew circling the lot like wolves, not storming in but taunting from afar, revving engines to drown out the birds, one yelling, "Hand over the keys, Harlan, or we'll make this personal." Dad stepped out, calm as ever. "You've got no claim here, move on before you regret it." But Vance laughed, leaning on his bike. "Regret? We're the future. Old Mini, our piddly station's prime real estate for our operation, and we'll burn it down if we have to." That's when the tension snapped. One Viper lunged with a chain, swinging wild, but Dad moved like lightning, twisting it away, sending the guy sprawling. "Last chance," he growled, and they backed off, Vance spitting threats. "You'll pay for that, family first." My insides twisted, realizing their motive ran deeper. Vance had lost a brother in some botched deal years back, blamed small-town holdouts, like us, for killing opportunities, turning his grief into this power play over land and control. The day dragged, us on edge, Dad showing me his old tricks, how to spot a flank, when to stand firm, and Tom keeping watch, cracking jokes to lighten it. "Hell, Jack, if I'd known you were Rambo reincarnate, I'd have bought my coffee elsewhere." But underneath, we all felt the storm brewing. Evening fell, and sure enough, they roared back, this time with a truck loaded for bear, blocking the road, Vance striding forward. "Time's up, give us the deed, or watch it all go up in smoke." I stood beside Dad, chin up, over my dead body, and he shot me a proud glance before facing Vance. "You touch her, and you're done." Chaos erupted, then Vipers charging with bats and crowbars, one swinging at Tom, who blasted a warning shot skyward. "Not today, boys." Dad disarmed too in a blur, knee to the gut, elbow to the jaw, his past unleashing like a coiled spring, while I ducked behind cover, calling the sheriff again, pulse thundering as a Viper chased me to the door, pounding. "Open up, sweetheart." Outside, Vance circled Dad, chain whipping. "You think you're tough? I'll end you like I ended the last fool who crossed me." But Dad dodged, yanking the chain, pulling Vance close, wrong move, and cracked him across the ribs. The crack echoing like justice. The gang faltered, confidence cracking as sirens wailed closer. They mounted up, Vance clutching his side. "This town's gonna remember who owns it." But as they fled, Dad stood tall, breathing heavy, Tom lowering his gun with a shaky grin. "Damn, Jack, that was something." The sheriff rolled in, lights flashing. "Vipers again? We'll raid their hideout tonight, join us." Dad nodded. "Let's finish this." And off they went, leaving me and Tom to hold the fort, my mind racing with worry but pride swelling too. The raid was pure intensity, deputies surrounding their warehouse lair, Vance barking orders inside. "Hold him off, we ain't losing our stake." But Dad slipped through shadows, confronting Vance head-on, knocking his rifle aside. "It's over, you picked the wrong fight." And Vance sneered, bloodied. "Guys like me always rise." Before Dad pinned him, deputies cuffing the lot. The gang's dreams of land domination crumbling like cheap concrete. Back home, as dawn broke, Dad hugged me tight. "We did it, kid, protected what's ours." And Tom slapped his back, hero of Willow Creek. Life eased back, town folks stopping by with thanks. But as we sat on the porch that night, stars winking overhead, Dad mused soft. "Violence ain't the answer, Lily, but sometimes it's the only language they speak." And I nodded, wondering if we'd sparked something bigger, maybe inspired others to stand up, or just invited more trouble down the line. You know, looking back, it makes you think, what would you do if some bully tried to steamroll your corner of the world, all for their twisted gain? Was Dad right to unleash his past, or should we have walked away? Drop your thoughts in the comments, share your stories of standing up, or when you wished you had. Cause these community clashes, they're everywhere, and hearing from you keeps the conversation alive. If this hit home, smash that like, subscribe for more real-life tales that pack a punch, and hit the bell so you don't miss the next one. Thanks for listening, folks.